Hi guys, welcome back to my sports world. It's been 4 or 5 days without a video, and good explanation for that. I have been ultra busy for the last week. Um, it's just the way life is, I don't do these videos for a living, so I have to do them kind of like around my schedule. And my schedule last 5 6 days has been crazy. But I'm here now, and hopefully this coming week will be a little bit less crazy. So let's just jump straight into it. It's gonna probably be 2 or 3 videos today. One is about 49ers, of course, because they play tonight on Monday Night Football against the Rams. So that's what this video is about. But there's a video coming up about the Grizzlies and what we can expect from Manchester United coming up, because I haven't made any Manchester United videos lately because they have had an international break. So no games. Let me just start right away with tonight's game. It's a game buster. It's one of those huge games for both teams. Both teams has this game in their hands, and they can kind of like decide where it's going to take them. If Rams lose this game, that's not good. Even though they have been quite good this year, if they lose this game, and we have seen in the NFL this year that a lot of unexplained results happens. Yesterday was no exceptions. Yesterday there was a lot of results, a lot of games that went against what we normal would say and maybe think would happen. Minnesota won. Cardinals lost. Buccaneers lost. Jeez, Titans. I kind of expect the Titans to win a tight game against New Orleans, but not in the fashion they did. So this year's and this season's NFL, it's up for grab for anyone. Well, not for anyone. The Lions is kind of like lost, so they have no chance. Lions and Jets have no chance. But we're still in it. We're still in the playoff race, and that's why this game tonight is so freaking important for both teams. Rams can, with a win today, they can solidify their position as the top dog in NFC West. They can maybe put a little pressure on other teams when it comes to like seedings, stuff like that. But if they lose tonight, it's an all open race. Because Cardinals is pretty good, even though they went on a little stumbling block yesterday. I don't expect to see many of those going forward. So with a win tonight, Rams will kind of like solidify that they are the top dog. They're going to be the 1 or 2 seeded, and they will have a very good outlook for the playoffs. However, the 49ers have the opportunity tonight to grab this game and say, you know what we've shown so far is not us. We're going to go out there and we're going to show the world who we really are, and we're going to grab this game by the scuff of the neck, and we're going to pull it in our favor. And if we do that, if we can rally up and win this game and keep that momentum going, not just win one game and then, we lose another 2 or 3, but win this game and make that the starter for something going down the road. Maybe start a winning streak of the 5 or 6 game coming up. Because if we win this game, it's so important. So much more than just maybe getting a little bigger hope for the playoffs. But it gives guys the feeling and the beliefs that, hey, we can go out there, we can compete with anyone, we can compete with the best, and we can win. We can win against the best. That means we can win the Super Bowl if we do it right. So here's what we have to do. Because Minnesota won yesterday, and those are one of the teams we are fighting against when it comes to playoffs. We're fighting against for more teams, for more spots, but Minnesota is one of our hurdles to get through to our playoffs, if I understand the playoff thing correctly. We have to win to keep on track with the other teams that won yesterday. But because so many teams lost, weird losses like Cardinals' loss is an optimistic thing for us, and the loss for the Seahawks is even better. If we can go along, if we can go now, because we have lost against the Cardinals, we have lost to the Seahawks. We're gonna still play the Seahawks again. We're gonna play the Rams again. The Rams is the last game of the season, so we have an opportunity here. If we win tonight against the Rams, and let's say we beat the Rams again in the upcoming game at last game of the season, if we also win over the Seahawks in our group, that puts us a little bit stronger when it comes to group winnings and headings, head-to-head wins and stuff like that, because that it can come down to the wire. Let's say we have no chance against the Cardinals because we lost both games against them. And just to say this, we have the Vikings coming up too. So the Vikings game will be hugely important coming up. So the Rams game now and the Viking games and the Seahawk and of course the Ram game in the last of the season. But we have to win them all. We have to win them all. There's no way around it. The only way we can reach the playoffs. Let me see. We are now playing the Rams tonight. So there's, if we include that, Rams tonight is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 games left for us to play. If we can win 7 out of those 9, because I think I have a hope, but I think we will lose to the Titans in Nashville. I think that game will be too difficult, even more difficult than the 2 Rams games. I tell you, Titans at home is in December in Nashville in December can be very tricky. It can be tricky. And I tell you, if it comes down to the thing with Titans is, if they're already secured a playoff spot, they might rest some players, because that's like the third last game of the season. So they might rest some players if they are already, playoff bound. But they still also want to keep the momentum going and keep their players fresh. So it comes down to a lot of things. But we have to win at least 7 out of the 9 games to have any chance of even sniffing on a playoff. But of course, it all depends on the other teams as well. That's why it's so important to beat the Vikings when we meet Vikings in a couple of weeks. Mighty important. But let's focus on the game tonight. Rams, very tough opponent. I mean, they're even better than the Cardinals. But I think that the playing style. Here's the thing, though. Even though Rams is a better team, a lot of games are decided on matchups. Okay, it's almost like in the NBA. You have small, you go small, you go big. You have matchups. You match your team to the opponent. In football and soccer as well, you have like a team that can be like top dog, and you have a team that is like bottom feeders, and they are in soccer they're in the relegation conversation. And sometimes those bottom teams beat the top dogs because of the matching. It's always been like that. There's a history between those two teams. There's something going on when those two teams meet, and it can't just be explained easily. And I feel that we have that with a couple of teams in our own division, like Seahawks. Seahawks can go either way, but sometimes we have the advantage at our home, and they have the advantage in Seattle. But when I look at the Rams and I look at the 49ers, at least for the last 4 or 5 seasons, I think we have a little bit of a grip on them. Maybe it's like mentally or something like that. Like maybe like the players go like, oh, we're gonna, the 49ers are not that great this year, but they always put up a fight against us for some reason, and just putting that little doubt in their mind, and the same with the coaching staff for the Rams. They have that in their back of the head that, oh, we're meeting the 49ers again, and they always put up a little fight when they play against us, and they make it difficult. And we've seen this season that The Rams are not Supermans. They're not invincible. It's not like they're gonna go through and win everything. They have lost games and they've played games where they're like, not great. So if we can show up and play our best on both defense and offense, yeah, we have a good chance of beating the Rams. But, and there's a big but, if we play anywhere near what we did against Cardinals or even the Bears, we have no chance. No chance. Even though we won the Bears game, I mean, who are we kidding? We've been playing very mediocre football. So what we have to do tonight is we have to take out the showstopper. We have to take out one for the ages, because it's one, playoffs, two, regular season stats, and of course it's Monday Night Football. So we have to go out there and give it all. And if we win, I say this again, if we win this game tonight, it bumps our playoffs hopes from this to this. It's like, if you're gonna rate it right now, our playoff chances right now is 3-10. If we win tonight, it bumps up to 5-10. So you see that winning tonight is taking a big step in the right direction, and it kind of builds the foundation for the next 2 weeks. Because you have to remember this, the next game we have after the Rams is the Jaguars. And I say it again, that's a game we should win. So if we can win against the Rams tonight and we win against the Jaguars next week, that's 2 games in a row that we win. That puts us on track for a run against the playoffs in the second half of the season. And the next game after that is the Minnesota Vikings. And that will be a major game. Because we're both the Minnesota Vikings and the 49ers are competing for the same spot. We are competing for the same spot. And we have to just eliminate the Vikings by beating them. And if we can beat the Rams tonight, we can go on and beat the Jaguars next week. And we put up a showstopper against the Vikings as well. Then we have 3 games in a row where we have put down a win. And that will make a huge difference. Then we're back at 500 or better. And that's needed. We need that. Because what we seen yesterday in the other games, and what we saw last week and the week before, basically every week since week 1, is that anyone is capable of beating anyone. It's that simple. Broncos beat the Cowboys last week, and the Cowboys goes out this week and put on a lopsided win like you haven't seen before. And it looked like there was one team on the field, and then Denver, who beat Dallas last week, goes out and loses this week to a far less team than Dallas Cowboys. So it's all about having the day. It's all about having the moment. It's like moment football right now. It's not like you can go and say, okay, that team. Well, except for a couple of teams. Even though Dallas Cowboy lost last week, I think that was like more of a concentration thing, and they kind of lost their focus because they were doing so well. They got a little cocky, and they were thinking like, oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. It's just the Broncos, and I think that's what's got him. And it was the first game back for Dak Prescott. He was maybe a little bit rusty. But, there's 2 teams in this league that I want to say is in the NFC. We're talking about NFC now. That are kind of like on the top of the hill above everyone else. And even though they lost yesterday, it's the Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. I think those are the 2 best teams right now. And then, of course, you have, right behind them, you have the Rams and the Buccaneers, of course. No, sorry, not the Cardinals. Well, who am I kidding? What am I saying here? Well, Cardinals is kind of there, too. So there's 3 teams right now that it's like, the Packers was one of the ones I'm going to say. The Packers, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals are the 3 best teams in the NFC right now. No doubt about that. And if I was going to rank them, I'll probably say Packers, Cowboys, Cardinals. So any team below those three that wants to become a playoff contender have to face up to those. You have to. You can't just face off to the other ones below you or around you, but you also have to take points from the ones ahead of you and above you. Now, we're not playing any of those the rest of the season except for the Rams. We're playing Rams twice. The Seahawks loss yesterday helps us a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. It makes things a little bit more digestible, if you know what I mean. It becomes a little bit, it gives you kind of like a breather, because I tell you, if Seahawks had won yesterday, it would have become a lot more difficult for us, because we have already lost the game against the Seahawks. And if the Seahawks had, let's say they start to go on a run now, all it takes is for us to go to stay in the swamp, or win one game and then come back into the swamp. And let's say we win maybe 2 or 3 games the rest of the season. That's not good enough. We have to win the rest of the games. But if the Seahawks starts to pick up wins after wins after wins, and they have like 8 wins now, let's say they go on an 8 game winning streak, bye our chance of playoff. So that's why it's so important going forward that we win tonight's game. We have to win it. And if I'm going to predict anything, I mean, this is a tough game. Very tough game. If I'm going to give a game prediction, I'm going to say probably, I hate to say this. I hate to say it. But I don't want to jinx the guys either. I think we will win. I hate to say it because every time I predict a win, we lose. But I think we will win. I think the guys understand what's at stake. And it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a very close game. But I think that we will win 24-21. I think we will win by a field goal. And the field goal is being scored in the last minute of the game. Maybe in the last 30 seconds of the game. But I think we will win 24-21 over the Rams. And I hope that it is the start of something down the road. Because if we can win 6, 7, 8 games of the 9 that is left, is it too much to ask for? Let's take a look. Just bear with me here. We play the Rams tonight. If we can win that, that's one of the toughest games we have left, okay? So if we win them, then we have the Jaguars next week. And we should win against the Jaguars, for crying out loud. And then we have the Vikings, and that's a mighty important game. Mighty, maybe even more important than the Rams game tonight. So if we win against the Vikings, then we have the Seahawks after that. And the Seahawks have shown that right now they're not that great. Then we have the Bengals, and I think the Bengals, we can beat the Bengals. I mean, we should beat the Bengals, for crying out loud. It's the Bengals. And then we have the Falcons. I mean, Falcons was slaughtered yesterday. And then, of course, we had the one game that I'm pretty darn sure we're going to lose big time, and that's the Titans game. And then we have the Texans after that. We should be winning that one. And then, of course, the last game of the season is the Rams. But let's say we win against the Rams. That's 1. We're going to win against the Jaguars. That's 2. The Vikings is 3. Seahawks is 4. Bengals is 5. Falcons is 6. That's 6 wins right there. We lose against the Titans. That's 1. We win against the Texans. That's 7. And let's say we lose against the Rams at the last game of the season. That's 2 losses and 7 wins in the last 9 games. I think if we do that, and we're a little bit lucky with the other results in the other games, we can go to the playoffs. Of course, if we win the remaining 9 games, of course the chance is greater, but it all depends on what the other teams do. And we have only 1 team, well, 2 teams that we are kind of like head to head on and against, and that's the Rams and the Vikings. If we can beat those 2 teams, yeah, then things will be looking out a little bit better. But let's not jump the dragon here, but basically, if we want to hit the playoffs, we have to win at least seven more games. That gives us 2 losses and 7 wins in the last 9 games that we have to do in order to go to the playoffs. So, tonight's game, San Francisco 24, Rams 21.